Hello everyone, my name is Faaeza and welcome to lesson number 3 from the Tesco Cookery School in association with Jamie Oliver. Now today we'll be making 2 recipes, but they can be eaten together. So one is an eggy muffin and the second one is a veggie soup. Now for the eggy muffins, I'm going to need 2 eggs, milk, a bit of cheese, bread, preferably stale bread, that works better, and 100 grams of defrosted peas and 2 balls of frozen spinach. And for the veggie soup, I'm going to need half an onion, carrot and celery stick, and I'm going to use a courgette and pepper as the main flavors of my soup. And along with that we're going to need some vegetable stock as well. Now in terms of equipment, we need a muffin tray with muffin cases, and if you do not have muffin cases, you can just use baking parchment, cut into these molds and use that instead. You're also going to need a large bowl, a whisk, and later on, depending on whether you want a chunkier soup, a potato masher, or if you want a smooth soup, you'll need one of these stick blenders. So the first thing that we're going to do is make the eggy muffins. So for that, I'm going to crack 2 eggs into a bowl. It's always handy to have a waste bowl right next to you so that all the waste can go straight in. And 90 mils of milk go in as well until it's nicely blended. And as you can see, it's forming a nice pale yellow color, which means the milk and the eggs are now well blended. Now I'm going to break in just roughly, the crust and the bread, everything goes in together. Just break it into pieces, rough pieces, and all the bread goes in. It's nice chunks. And you can use white bread, you can use I'm using wholemeal, but you can use brown, seeded, granary, whatever you have at home and whatever your preferences are. Once your bread is broken in, add the grated cheese. Now I've used Parmesan, which is a bit salty and it gives a nice flavor as well. And what I need to do now is just mix everything in together so that all the bread gets coated with the eggy mixture and it starts soaking into the bread. And once I've done this, once all the bread is coated, I am just going to leave it for 10 minutes so that it continues soaking in all the eggy milkiness. It's been about 10 minutes now and my bread has soaked all the liquid in. So now it's time to add 100 grams of frozen peas, which I've defrosted, and 2 balls of frozen spinach. Now as you can see, I've squeezed it and removed all the moisture so that there's no wetness left in there. And add this as well. And I've also added a few grinds of black pepper and a couple of pinches of salt. You don't need too much, especially if you're using Parmesan, because that's quite a salty cheese in any case. And we're giving all of this a very good stir so that all the vegetables get mixed nicely. So as you can see, I've put the mixture into these muffin cases. And I've packed it all up quite tightly because this is not a muffin that's going to rise. So as it goes in, it's going to come out. And the only difference is going to be that it will all be cooked nicely and it will become golden brown. Now at this point, I'm going to put it in the oven for 25 minutes. I've been preheating my oven at 180 degrees. And this just has to go in for 25 minutes. And that's it. So now I'm going to begin making the soup because my muffins are in the oven. And to make the base of the soup, we need half an onion, a carrot, and a celery stick. So I'm going to start off with the onion. Use the bridge like this. And I've peeled the onion, as you can see. And I've left the root on here. And just making these incisions like this. And so now I can cut the onion and using the claw and making sure your fingertips are behind. So all I have left is the root here, which I can put on the waste. And I've got about a tablespoon of oil in the pan here. And I'm going to add the onion to it. And just let it soften. While the onion is softening, I'm going to chop the other vegetables. Now for the other two vegetables for the base, which is the carrot and the celery, I'm going to start by using the bridge again and just cutting the carrot into half. Now I've got two flat sides, and again I'm just going to cut it in half and then simply using the claw, make small pieces. And with the celery, I'm going to do something similar. So again, using the bridge technique, hold the celery stick and again, flat side down and chop into small pieces. While the vegetables are softening, I'm now going to start chopping the two main vegetables that will form the flavor base of the soup. So that's the courgettes. I've chopped off the top and the bottom end. And again, using the bridge technique, I'm going to do exactly the same in terms of chopping up the courgettes as well. And finally, it's the pepper. So I'm going to cut it like this. Cut the top off. Remove all the seeds from the middle, like this, all the white bits. Make sure shake off all the seeds. And with this as well, just cut around the green that goes in the waste. And now we're just going to make small pieces of the pepper. So the carrot, onion and celery have been softening nicely. Make sure you keep stirring it from time to time while you're chopping up all the other veg. And now I'm going to add the courgettes and the red pepper. So the flavor base, you can use whichever vegetable you want. You can make a cauliflower soup by using 200 grams of cauliflower florets chopped. So if you use an approximate weight of about 200 grams of the flavor base, you can use whichever vegetable you wish. So you can make a broccoli soup, you can, as I said, cauliflower, you can make parsnip, you can even make a spiced parsnip, add a little bit of spices to it, cumin and, I would add a little bit of garam masala, but you can add whichever spices you want to it. Even to this soup, if you want to add a bit of basil, some parsley, you can add a few herbs to it to give that additional dimension of flavor. Now that all the vegetables have been coated nicely in the oil, the final ingredient is the vegetable stock. So all I've done is dissolved vegetable stock cube in 500 mils of water, and that's it. Make sure it's properly dissolved, and adding that to it. And now I'm going to bring the heat up a bit because I want the whole stock and vegetable mixture to come up to a nice rolling boil so that it's properly bubbling all over. And once it starts properly bubbling, then we turn the heat down again, cover the pan and let it simmer until all the vegetables have become nice and soft. It's come to a nice rolling boil, and at this point we turn it down to the lowest setting and just let it simmer gently. Cover it and let it simmer until the vegetables are soft. You'll have to check, give it at least 10 to 15 minutes. My timer's gone off after 25 minutes, so the muffins should be ready. I've turned the oven off already, and there they are, lovely and golden brown. So they're nice and golden brown on top, and if you touch them, they'll feel firm as well. And that's it. It's got 2 of your 5 a day with the spinach and the peas, and it's a very, very healthy snack. If you want to have a snack in between meals, something like this would be absolutely perfect. Instead of, your ready-made snacks which have a lot of fat and sugar and salt. This has just the right amount of salt, and it's extremely healthy as well. It's been about 10 to 15 minutes now, and the vegetables are nicely simmering. And the best way to check whether the vegetables are done, just insert a fork into the vegetables, and you'll be able to feel how easily it goes through. Now, you can either have the soup as is, as a broth, or you can have it in chunky bits. So I'm going to turn the heat off now. And if you want a kind of mashed soup, then you can use a potato masher and just simply be very gentle because the soup is still warm, quite hot. So you can just slowly keep mashing the vegetables, and just keep at it. But I would prefer the soup smooth. So in order to do that, I'm going to use a stick blender to just make it nice and smooth so that all the vegetables are blended nicely. So with the stick blender, I've started blending. Always make sure that it's completely immersed and hits the bottom of the pan. If you keep it slightly up or above, you'll have soup all over the place. So make sure it's right at the bottom, completely immersed. And start off with small spurts. And so as you can see, it's already become nice and smooth, and I like it this texture. So that's all we need, and that's it. Your soup is done. You can now use a ladle and ladle it nicely into a lovely bowl. Couple of ladlefuls. And that's your veggie soup. And today we've used courgette and red pepper. And along with it, you've got your eggy muffin. And this in itself is an extremely healthy meal. You've got several vegetables in your soup itself. So that in itself gives you the maximum nutrition. And your eggy muffin gives you a little bit of dairy, eggs, and your carbohydrates with the bread. And of course, a bit of cheese. So it all adds up to a very balanced, nutritious meal. I hope you've enjoyed the Tesco Cookery School and enjoy making these recipes. Thank you very, very much for watching. Bye-bye.